You know?
Nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them.
Because when you seek the Lord right now, that shows the Lord that you're coming to Yahweh bahasham YAHAWASHI for the proper reasoning, because you're seeking to serve him. If you go to Yahweh bahasham YAHAWASHI in a time where you need protection, to where you need that safety, and you're realizing, oh well, if I don't come to him now, judgment is gonna fall upon me. These evils is gonna overtake. Then you're not coming to him for the proper reason. That's why you seek him now, to show him that I'm gonna seek you when I have liberty not to do so. I'm gonna seek you when I could be feeding into my own life, so I could be, trying to make a career, going to college, or trying to, be successful, to where, I could be trying to build a family, but instead I'm gonna give this time to you. I could be doing anything else, but I'm seeking Yahweh bahasham YAHAWASHI. That's showing the Lord that you are truly seeking him for the proper reason. But once the time comes, you don't have liberty to do whatever you want, and it's either you you caught out here, or you got the proper safety, and now you want to seek him. Then that's not the you're not being genuine.
John, you want me to read on in Matthew?
Now we can go back to the Romans chapter 13.
Okay.
Well, no, let's finish the Matthew.
Back in Matthew 25 and verse 10, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
Yeah, the door was shut. That time of that opportunity of repentance was no more. So the point is that this is there's limited time to come unto Yahweh bahasham YAHAWASHI. There's limited time to run into that strong tower, and that time and reason is not going to be out here forever. So the best time to have like they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Don't wait any longer. The message is to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So the best time for anybody to get this message is right now. If you haven't at this point, don't wait, because that time going to come to where the opportunity is going to close. It's going to be too late.
Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us.
So that's it to that. But hey, right there it says, Lord, Lord, open to us, and that door wasn't open. And so what that means is that once that time gets too late, and people didn't come into the Lord when they had the liberty to do so, but then once the evils come, that's when they're going to try to find the prophets and seek Yahweh bahasham YAHAWASHI. Well, the Lord ain't going to be answering some people's calls. The Lord ain't. Sorry. Oh, okay. I thought you said something. But yeah. The Lord ain't going to be answering some people's calls. It's going to get to a point to where, when people is people who wasn't getting it right now, once you come into that time and now you calling on the name of the Lord, it's not going to have that same power, because you didn't build that relationship. The Lord, like, okay, you calling upon me, but you wasn't doing anything. You've been living wickedly up to this point. So repent early, repent sooner than later.
Back in Romans 13. Back in Romans 13 and verse 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Our salvation is nearer than when we believe. The end is manifest. So rise out of sleep. Get out of that negligent spirit, get out of that careless spirit. Even those of us who are in the fold, because this isn't just, hey, we got the truth. People who don't have the truth, y'all need to get right. Of course y'all need to get right, but this goes for us as well, because even though we have this faith, even though we in the fold, we have to make sure that we're living uprightly with this knowledge.
We saw Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. It says, see then that you walk circumspectly.
It says walk circumspectly. Let's get that definition for walk.
When you get into the word walk, goes in the Strong's G 4043, which is peripatio. It says to walk, to make one's way, progress, to make due use of opportunities.
To make due use of opportunities. Hey, like the elder says, time is an illusion. You know, don't do something based off of, oh, I got 2 hours to do it, so I got some time to spare. No, he said capitalize on opportunities. If a gap of free time open, do it right then and there. Because you don't know if that opportunity is going to come again. You don't know if you're going to get an opportunity that's sweet again, or if one will come at all. So while you have this opportunity, make due use of it. While we have this truth, walk ye in it. It says wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. So it's not just knowing the truth, it's knowing this truth and applying it. You know?
It says also Hebrew for to live, to regulate one's life, to conduct oneself, to pass one's life.
We're living after this truth. We don't just know it and we coming out here. We shouldn't be just coming out here and preaching the truth and just speaking it. Because we can just come out here and read scriptures and break them down. But it says that we have to, what did it say in that one you just read?
It says to regulate one's life, to conduct oneself.
To conduct ourselves based off of what we preach. You have to practice what you preach. You know, that's who the Lord is going to have favor upon. Those who, it says, don't just be a hearer of the word, but a doer. So in the same vein, don't just be a hearer or just a speaker. Be a doer. You know?
Then it also says to go be occupied with. That's pretty much it for that definition.
So when it said, 1 second. When it says to be occupied in prophecies, we're watching the prophecies. We're getting into the news or paying attention to what's going on. But we're also moving based off of the prophecies. We know what time it's supposed to be in, so it helps us to move more circumspectly. We know that we shouldn't be saying certain stuff on camera based off of prophecies, based off of the different stuff that Esau is doing. You know, that's why we know not to say a ball in English on camera, because that give us a certain, you know. But if we not occupied in prophecies, we're not being circumspect, then we're not going to carry ourselves right, and we'll walk into certain traps. You know, we're not supposed to be. That's why the apostles said, "Hey, don't be wearing camouflage, don't be wearing army fatigues and stuff like that, them type of patterns, because they occupied in prophecies. It helps you walk circumspectly. Don't go to huge public gatherings because of stuff going on, because of what happened in New Orleans. Y'all remember when that dude drove that car through that crowd? Or just recently, you had the guy, where was that at, where the dude went into the bar and shot it up?
Was that Orlando?
Was that in Orlando? Was it Florida?
That was one of them, yeah.
But you had that recent situation, you know? So that helps you walk circumspectly when you're occupied in prophecy.
I want to get that word circumspectly for you also. You get this word circumspectly, goes in the Strong's G 199, Prebos. It says exactly, accurately, diligently, exactly, circumspectly. I got the etim online. That's pretty much it for the interlinear. But the circumspect in the etim online says cautious, wary, literally looking about on all sides.
So we paying attention. You know, we don't just go about and just live our lives. No, we paying attention to what's going on. That's why we get into the news. We look at what the government is doing. We look at how the war is going. We look at the stages that we're at, so that we know where we're at prophetically, and we know how to carry ourselves. You know. Is there a point that you want to get into based off that?
No, I mean, because you kept mentioning it, just wanted to bring it up for edification's sake.
All right, for sure. Oh, you got to put something, right?
This is Matthew chapter 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
And the way that we would know how to carry ourselves and be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, we have to pay attention. So it's like I mentioned before. If we know the government is now saying, if you speak these certain type of rhetorics or you saying these type of things, then we about to start arresting people. We about to start coming down on people. We about to start paying attention to that type of stuff. So why would we go about burning flags on cameras? Why would we go about speaking militantly, talking about guns and all that? Like that, that's not the type of, why would we do that? That's not being circumspect, you know?
A little bit more to the precept. Was there more to that precept, Bob?
A little bit more, yeah. Verse 17 says, "But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues."
God, yeah, you'll be arrested, taken to trial, you know, and in prison ultimately.
So back in Ephesians 5 verse 16.
And
Zephaniah chapter 7 verse 8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey.
Yeah.
For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy.
So you have that aspect, because the Lord is going to be the one who does the physical judgment of this place in the first place. That's not our place to be trying to take power into our own hands and rise up, create some type of army or militia. No, we come out here to preach this word. That's our responsibility. It says that we would that's what talks about 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8, that the Lord will reveal the wicked by the spirit of his mouth. We are the spirit of his mouth, the prophets. And then by the brightness of his coming, that's when the Lord comes with vengeance in his heart to bring that physical judgment. You know, so if we try to go against the Lord's will and do it ourselves, it's not going to work. We're going against Esau and his power. And if we talking that carnal power, we can't go against Esau like that. You know?
Well, we is going to have a part to play in it, because the Lord said we are his battle axe, weapons of war. Let's get that. But you can't do like Masada, try to go on your own. You know what I'm saying? And try to seek your own visions. That's why it says wait upon him. Alright? Jeremiah 51 and 20. Now are my battle axe and weapons of war. That's talking about the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Alright? For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. Yep. So that's just that. You know what I'm saying? Because was it Ezekiel 34 or 35 when it talks about the end of Edom? You know, it's gonna be a culmination of things, but it's not on us to do anything right now. All right, you gotta wait on the Lord. Wait till these prophecies come to pass. Things of that nature. Jake gonna know. You know.
So yeah, Ezekiel.
I got a quick precept. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven.
God. And you know what season and time you're in, being occupied in prophecy. You know? So this is the time for us to be going out and teaching. But hey, based off of being occupied in prophecies, our leaders are going to know the time where it's time for us to stop teaching. They're going to know when that time of the famine of the word has come. And it's not that time yet, but it's coming very soon. You know?
It ain't gonna be just leaders, it's gonna be everybody. It's gonna manifest.
God.
You know, we don't know exactly how, but you know, they're already putting out, you know, things like they got cameras in China, you know. They got cameras out here, starting to be out here. I believe it's out here, or no, it's in London, where if you drive in the inner city, that they could scan your license plate and they could charge you for driving in the inner city. So my point is that they're gonna start having these cameras, the face recognition, telling you how long you can be outside, where you should be, you know, congregating in groups over a certain number, you know. YouTube, they're already shutting down and tightening up based off of certain speeches, things like that. They're attacking the right to peaceably assemble, for peaceful assembly. They're attacking the Constitution. All right.
There was a lady, I don't know which country she was in or state. I believe it was here though, not here in Nebraska, but the United States. But she she was doing some lesson plans in her, in the classroom, and one of the students had shut her laptop in and pretty much erased her lesson plan. So after that, she went and got on Snap and sent her friend a private message, and the FBI ended up showing up to her and was like, hey, did you have some problem with students? She like, nah, because you ain't really thinking too much of it. You joking about some shit.
Yeah.
And they pretty much like, well, we got a message, and it was like an AI that snitched on her. You know what I'm saying? AI data snitched on her and ended up informing the FBI because she was like, asking Fred, should I delete the child or not? Her student. Just joking around or whatever, but FBI showed up to her and they arrested her, man. So it's like, how the hell do y'all know about my private messages on social media, but it was AI that alerted the FBI, man? So that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna go on to that hate speech, and that's getting rid of the First Amendment right there. They say what you want to say.
And these rights to gather with these protests, right? To peacefully assemble. You know what I'm saying? And that goes straight after churches. All right. Everybody, you can't call a person out their name or say you're gonna do something. Yeah. So eventually, that all lines up with us, man, because we're saying that the Lord's gonna destroy Babylon, the entire country, man. Okay. So they're gonna have something to censor and say, even try to demonize, man. Let's get that in Revelation. Some shall be cast into prison.
This is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Yeah, so the Lord said, some shall be cast into prison. So shit, it's a you wanna understand that there's a couple paths to this thing, and he's gonna come down with wrath, man. And again, some Jake shall be cast into prison for that. For that very same reason.
So Isaiah chapter 29, verse 20. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. So we basically we're gonna be getting convicted for the words that we preach, even though there's a so-called freedom of speech. It's gonna get to a point where we can't say certain things. I can't remember what country it is, but there's starting to be legal penalties for speaking against Amalek. And that's, should we speak against Amalek? Them small hatters. So it's gonna get, we're the ones that were proven in the gate, and Esau gonna be, having traps set up for that. And getting to the point of getting arrested, fined, whatever the case may be.
God, in Revelation 2:10 that we just read, the word devil is diabolos in the Greek, and one of the definitions says prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely.
And that word devil, it also means what? Deceiver. And when you have somebody that's speaking the truth in the midst of your deceit and your lies, you gotta silence them. So that's why Esau's gonna be coming after us and shutting his truth down, because he has to make sure that his deceits continue to go out. And he's gonna do what? Through his deceit, he's gonna be slandering the prophets. He's gonna say, "Hey, don't listen to them because they're terrorists, because they do this, they do that." Acting like we're the evil ones.
One of the words also calumniate. The definition is make false and defamatory statements about.
Yep, that's why Trump came out and he said that he's going to place the label of domestic terrorism on those who are Antifa. And all you have to do for you to be labeled Antifa is say certain rhetorics, anti-America, anti-capitalism, anti-Trumpism. If you speak along the lines of those certain things, you can have that label slapped on you. Now you're a domestic terrorist for speaking. You know. So that's that slander. That's him being that devil.
Has more of that Ephesians. Back in Ephesians chapter 5, and I'll start at 15 again and read it through. So Ephesians 5 verse 15. It says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is."
God. So we have to understand what the will of the Lord is, and we know what the His will, because we go off the spirit of prophecy. You know, and like I mentioned before, that's what helps us know how to maneuver and how to carry ourselves in the time that we in. You know. Okay, Con. What was the? Was there more in that Romans chapter 13? Okay, Con. Yeah, and so we mentioned Trump. Speaking of Trump, where in prophecy, where we're at with this war, because based off the stage that we're at in this war, there's peace is not in sight. You had them come together. You had America and Iran come together, and they spoke for hours trying to come up with some type of ceasefire plan, some type of deal, and they weren't able to come to any conclusion, because what Iran is looking for and what the U.S. is looking for is not in each other's interests. The U.S. wants them to get rid of any trace to their nuclear program. They want them to shut that down altogether. Iran is not budgeting. So with that, no peace deal is going to come about. So once this talk got shut down, the U.S.'s first move was to send the U.S. Navy to the Strait of Hormuz, and now the U.S. is blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So that's going to make it to where it's going to be even harder for ships to get through, because not only did you have Iran closing it, and now he opened it. Now Iran opened it, but you have to pay tolls. You have it's only for certain ships. Well, now the U.S. is blocking it. Yeah, for certain countries. Well, now the U.S. is trying to block it even more so. So it's even harder for ships to get through. Which is going to do what? Which is going to make the world economy even worse. And so now the U.S. is trying to hold it hostage on top of Iran holding it hostage. And I'm like, you making everything even worse for your allies, for yourself. And it reminds me of that precept. What's the scripture where it says they staggered in their vomit? Because I want to read that in the NLT. It brings out something. Isaiah 19 and 14. God.
This is Isaiah 19 verse 14 in the NLT. It says, "Yahawah have set a spirit of foolishness on them, so all their suggestions are wrong. They cause Egypt to stagger like a drunk in his vomit."
So the plans that they're coming up with is putting them in an even worse state. If their goal is to ease these prices going up, ease the try to bring some type of peace, well, the decisions you're making is making it worse for yourself, is making it worse for your allies, yet you're acting like you're trying to help. And that's because Esau, his mindset goes immediately to using his sword. He tries to force his way through everything. Just like we were studying over yesterday with the British warring against China, with the opium wars. And Esau just forces his way through everything by fighting, by bloodshed, by destruction. That's the only way he knows. That's why he calls in Revelation. Can we get in Revelation? We talk about the red horse.
Revelation 6 and verse 3. And while he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red.
That red horse is talking about Esau, and that horse representing power, and Esau is a power in the earth right now. Well, the earth is given into his hand,
And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
To take peace from the earth. peace is not going to be upon the earth until YAHAWASHI takes over, until the nation of Israel takes over and our kingdom is established. So that's how we know when they talk about trying to come up with peace, ceasefires, all these different things, it's going to fall through. It's not going to come to pass because one, it's the Lord's will within prophecy that war will come about, and two, peace isn't in Esau's DNA. The Lord set up Esau that he would take peace from the earth. So that's why you have all this fighting going on, all this war going on, you know?
Appreciate, bro. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land of the great Salakia. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
Hey, and they called Babylon the Great, but in America it called them the hammer of the earth. And to a hammer, everything is a nail, you know? So it's just, hey, well, it's not working. I gotta fight my way through. I gotta, you know, he's forceful. But it says that hammer is going to be cut asunder. Even though he's that power in the earth, the Lord is going to shut that power down eventually. You know?
Hammer is in the heavy duty tool area.
Yeah. You know?
It's book of Ezekiel 35, verse 6. He says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Yeah, Esau has not hated blood. You know, he figured out, you know, in the sake of becoming rich, in the sake of making money, he realized that being violent gets him there. You know, and instead of coming up with more ethical ways to make money, no, when he sees that enslaving people and you know destroying Jake gets him in the places that he needs to be, gets him the riches that he needs, he's like, even though I'm committing genocide, even though I'm hurting people, I'm gonna just keep on doing this because it's lining my pockets, you know. And there's gonna be a recompense for that. You know, the scriptures say that even slavery isn't wrong in and of itself. It's the way that Esau did it. You're supposed to treat your slaves a certain way. You know, they still humans at the end of the day. But the way that Esau goes about it, well, he's moving with that hatred against us as well. We have to understand that. You know, so when he enslaved us, it wasn't just about having servants. It was so that he could enact his hatred upon us as well. You know, but the Lord is going to come down upon him for that because he touched the apple of the Lord's eye.
It says, thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate and cut off from it that passeth out and him that returneth.
Mount Seir was a habitation of Esau. So that's what it's referring to there. It says, can you read that again?
It says, thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth.
So Esau is going to be taken down. And you read about that in Obadiah. Like it says, since Esau had not hated blood, blood shall pursue him. The same people that Esau oppressed, murdered, raped, and robbed, well, the Lord is going to allow us to bring a recompense upon you. And in righteousness, everything that you did to us, we're going to do to you. In righteousness. Like I said, we ain't going to be doing all the evil wickedness that Esau did, the butt breaking and stuff like that. You know, but the same, you know, the nation of Israel is going to enact violence on you when we have you as our captives. You got something up?
Yeah, it's right for you.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 40 and verse 1. It says, great travail is created for every man, and an heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam from the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things.
Yeah. So, which is ultimately the spirit world. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures tell you that we return to the dust, and all spirits go to the Most High who gave it. All right. That's you know, just explaining that. We go ahead.
Their imagination of things to come, and the day of death trouble their thoughts and cause fear of the heart. From him that sitteth on a throne of glory unto him that is humble in earth and ashes.
Yeah, death is coming for everybody because Esau can Esau's doing all this, but he can't dodge death. All right, he can take over, he can create fiat notes, he can make the MOTB, but he can't dodge death. All right.
From him that weareth purple and a crown, unto him that is clothed with a linen frock, wrath and envy, trouble and unquietness, fear of death and anger and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night's sleep do change his knowledge.
Yeah, so because at the end of the day, Esau, like I say, that's why they're striving for this MOTB, and they're trying to, you know, do certain things to extend their life. You know, from stem cell, you know, to adrenochrome. All right, that's why they into all them kids like that. All right, because that's for that adrenochrome and their blood cells. All right, because they drink that blood, with all that fear in them, they get to look young again, man. That's why celebrities be looking old as shit and they pop out and their wrinkles gone. You know, try to act like it's cosmetic surgery.
The old girl that old white chick, I think her name Ellen or something like that, boy.
Yeah.
They showed a picture of her ass. She was beat. Ain't no more parties on the island, and it's looking a little different. A lot of different.
It says, a little or nothing is his rest, and afterward he is in his sleep, as in a day of keeping watch, trouble in the vision of his heart, as if he were escaped out of a battle. When all is safe, he awaketh and marveleth that the fear was nothing.
Go ahead.
Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, you know, the Lord will put you through shit, but ultimately, you know, I wanted to point out that, you know, Esau doing all this, but death is plaguing his mind, man. All right, that's why they're trying to come up with all these ideas to avoid it. All right, that's why they're trying to merge man and machine and turn people into cyborgs. That's why, you know, one of the Rothschilds had like fucking four heart transplants. Okay, trying to live forever, man. But that's the battle they're not gonna win. They won the battle of attrition as far as, you know, taking over the world. They got the world under their yoke. They just don't have that full control. All right, and they need to live forever in order to succeed in that, but they're not gonna do that. All right, but guess who's gonna do it? The elect is, man. Well, the whole nation of Israel. All right.
It's 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of YAHAWASHI, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to he had done, whether it be good or bad.
Yeah, Esau's gonna receive everything he's done. Ain't no omitting Esau's ways because you just want everybody can we all just get along, you know, type of energy. Nah, man, the Lord gonna straighten it out, man. There ain't gonna be no retaliatory events. All right, this is gonna be the last go round. Okay, because Esau's done enough, you know, which is ironic that our people want to be so adamant on forgiving the worst kingdom on planet Earth, man. All right, and fighting hard, man, acting like Jake tripping. You know, well, there's black people that do this and do that.
Like,
you know, the things that they did on the scale. You know, like I said, Jake probably sold some pounds. They sold tons. All right, they extorted countries behind their resources. Fuck a block. You know.
So back in Ecclesiasticus 40 and verse 9, it says, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood.
Yeah, so and for their sakes gonna come the fire, man. All right. The Lord, second coming, he's coming with a host, he's coming with an army, and it's to destroy. Okay, he's not coming to it says, well, let's get that one to you, those who desire the day of the Lord. You know,
This is Amos chapter 5, verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you?
yeah. What end is it for those who are was mainly false prophets, mainly Christians that are doing it. You know, people that are, you know, saying that Jacob's trouble's already passed, the rapture and all that. You know, you're praying to sweet Jesus. Those are the people that desire the day of the Lord. But the reason the Lord asks in a rhetorical way to what end of it shall be for you, because those people aren't hastening the day. They aren't walking according to the will of their heavenly Father, which is according to prophecy. You know, they Zarya came out trying to put out a word salad and ducking and dodging of the MOTB. They asked him about the Bitcoin and everything, and he was like, well, I don't get into all that conspiracy stuff. When I hear about that, I hear about an imagination of something not happening. All right, that fake money. So he's openly acknowledging that he don't want to deal with it. All right, even if you don't believe in it, you just don't want to deal with, you know, the idea of it, because it's gonna ultimately go back to the MOTB, man. Because they try to dress it up as marrying white women, because that was their whole angle, you know, being married and giving it to marriage. All right, you're not supposed to be in that mindset. You're supposed to be into hastening the day, man. All right. Yeah, more of that. That should be it.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit more. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light.
Yeah. So it's not what people think it out to be. You know what I'm saying? So let's get that as the days of Noe in the New Testament. You know what I'm saying?
Gospel particular.
Yeah.
Which one you want first?
You get that one.
Okay. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Yeah. So the days of Noah, that people they were making that a priority, marrying and giving it. People today, they think that that's serving the Lord. But you're reading the gospel, you said that he denied house and home. How do you do that? You know, by coming home, doing your job, working your 40, all y'all praying at the dinner table, and you like, yup, I did my part. You know, that's not gonna cut it, man. There's a lot of things that you got to make your body a sacrifice to on this planet Earth, and you're gonna have to stand before that table and reap your reward. And if you're fucking off, that's gonna be your reward. All right, because it's gonna be tried by fire, man. All right.
It says,
This is 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 5. It says, for this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the wait. Is it more than that?
it's a little bit more.
Okay, I'll let you finish that.
Okay.
I started thinking, I'm like, it is.
It says, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
So it's insinuating that when you just trying to live for yourself, you trying to do good, you might not bother nobody, but the Lord has us to hasten in the day, to bid to the marriage, to pretty much be like having the heart and the spirit of laying your treasures up in heaven. You want to get up out of here, man. Alright? There's pilgrims upon the earth. Okay? And the ways of Esau don't teach that at all. Okay? They teach you about how to lay your treasures up down here, man. You know, set your affections on earth. That's what they want you to do. Alright? They want you to look forward to the vacations, look forward to your family, trust funds and shit. Alright? But that's trusting in the shadows of Egypt. And the Lord said that's a breach being ready to fall, man. You know?
It says and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Yeah. So people it's going, that's what I was saying a while ago. It's like, you know, it's really about making your body a living sacrifice, really what you putting on the table and giving up, you know, within your life. Because in this life, we have much liberty, man. All right? To even load the law because we're under grace. There's no system here to where a person commits a sin to death that Jake could come out and stone your ass. All right? There's no system. So you could damn near do what you want and even be successful at it. All right? It's like they did. They got licensed, you know, built facilities, you know, going to First Maccabees, you know, and our people actually had success. They are having success, but the end is death. All right, and it's ultimately the end is going to be ultimately death. All right, via thermonuclear missiles. But just like the nigga woman, she's dying slow. You know, she done went for the corporate world. You know what I'm saying? Live a certain life. You know, kids coming out half retarded. You know, because you stressed. You know what I'm saying? Can't keep your man around because you stressed. You know?
Reset. 1 Timothy 5:6. It says, but she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth.
Yep. That's what happened to our women. When they chased after pleasure, and it ultimately brought depth into their life. All right? Because the way of the Lord is life. It produces life, literally. All right? The whole point was to be fruitful and multiply, you know, but women lost their way. Okay?
Even back then, you would have like widows. Some widows would be young, some widows would be older, but when you had widows, they were kind of like the church would take care of them. But you had women who would manipulate the system. It's basically like, hey, nowadays with the food stuff, yeah, bro. They ain't got they say they got too many, or they make sure they keep like a part-time job to have a low income so they can get a lot of food stamps. They manipulated the system, man. So with those widows, it's like there's certain rules behind it, but they will try to go and live in their pleasures and still kind of be amongst men and have men but play the widow role as well. And it's like, nah, man, we ain't doing that, man. You know? And like the brother said, the whole welfare, they just try to manipulate this whole system. Every bit of it. I done heard so many damn stories. I'm like, damn, no wonder why y'all motherfuckers be living so good. Y'all know all the ins and the outs to it, man.
They learn from the small hats. They do it the best.
It's Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. My people is foolish, they have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding.
And that sottish means silly, man, or stupid. All right, meaning that, you know, like I was telling the brother, man, some people don't acknowledge these words. They may pull out the Bible and call on sweet baby Jesus, but they don't believe in the word of God. All right, they don't open up that Bible and really take heed and move in the steps of the prophecies and the law, statutes, commandments. All right, they still stuck on cursing, and that ain't even in the scriptures. You know, well, cursing the way that they trying to say, because the scriptures tell you don't bless and curse out the same mouth, right? But the cursing is talking about saying you wishing death on somebody. All right, we go over that all the time, but you know, it's just how simple these Christians are. You know, they're trying to go into prophecy and shit. All right, and they ain't even scratching the surface. All right, that's why they always try to attack things we say, because they don't got nothing of their own. They believe they said this. They're so mean. And they'll bring out a precept about mean people. You know, God says to love everybody. You know, when King David went and wiped people out. But if you have a long enough conversation with them, you're gonna realize they're full of BS. But their tactics is so demonic that it really don't make no sense even arguing with them. All right, when people are they live like plebeians. I always say plebeians, but Epicureans, yeah. You know, they live like Epicureans. They just want to live in pleasures. You know, the gospel of blessing. You got a blessing coming your way, an anointing. Man, how many times you need to be anointed, nigga?
What you doing? You gotta be anointed somewhere.
It says they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge.
Yeah, that's the book of our people. They have all the knowledge in the world to come up with schemes, get rich quick schemes. You know, they could come up on why, you know, you're a hater, and that, you know, like Jacob, they really examine that bad shit. But to be productive, they can't do it, especially in the spirit, man. Specifically in the spirit, you know. Jake now to take over the whole South Los Angeles and shit, you know. But can't get five niggas come together to produce something, you know. This is on some regular shit, man. Let alone to operate in the gospel, man. That's why they, you know, for these cats like ISUPK to be chasing after niggas like that and they them chasing after women, it's redundant, man. They don't care. You know, you got to entertain. That's why you got to bring out boys and men. That's why you got to have these parties, you know, because you got to entertain these niggas. That's why you got to, you know, y'all got to wear the garments.
Come marching and shit.
Yeah, you got to do all that because you're not feeding them off the spirit. You're feeding them off entertainment, man. You know, any nigga that need to, be entertained ain't worth it. All right, the Lord's word is enough, man. Truth is enough. It says truth is above all, man.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. It says, "But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in YAHAWASHI. For if he that cometh preacheth another YAHAWASHI whom we have not preached, or if he receive another spirit which ye have not received, or another gospel which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with them." You know, so just grabbing that, people, you know, they're getting like a remixed truth. They're getting the truth but not the full truth, or they're preaching a different doctrine and following after that. You know, and it's not the simplicity that's in YAHAWASHI. It's not repent, seek YAHAWASHI, hasten the end. You know, to put it.
Not following the scriptures, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just it. Sticking to the prophecies, like y'all trying to come together. The Lord is talking about separating. All right, and amongst many other things, man. He's talking about destroying Babylon. People trying to lift this place up. You know, that's why Yohanan and them don't want to, or Tazariak don't want to speak about the MOTB. The niggas don't like talking about the end.
Bro,
you know,
the little boy in that video, he was like, "Well, I'm gonna let such and such take it over." Man, the general told us we need to be getting our own medical, whatever the hell he said. It sounded like, nigga, you plan on staying here and building up some shit to fight against.
Build a bunker. Like, what? We need to get a bunker for what? The Lord's coming to get us, man. All right.
Trust in the Lord, man.
But they don't even know about the end. They're not occupied in prophecy, man. You know, that's all it is, because that's, if you ask a man of the Lord that's occupied in prophecy, they're gonna say, like, what the hell I need all that for? You know?
Are you supposed to be pilgrims on earth? And you trying to gain the Lord, man.
Yeah, like you know, the elder was saying, nothing wrong with getting like bug out bags, having shit stored up, but you don't know where you're gonna be at.
Yeah.
You know what the hell gonna happen? The Lord, you got a fucking $10,000 fucking bunker that you're investing in. Your ass going, the Lord wants you to go north, and your bunker's west. You're gonna be in dire straits, man. You ain't gonna know what to do. Man, do I leave all that food behind like that? Yeah.
Damn, bro.
That's why your ass shouldn't be laying up in storehouses, because the Lord said that the heathen gonna lay it up, and we gonna eat of the shit that they store up, man. You know.
Let me double shot. Let me grab this real quick. This is Matthew 24:17. I go to 16. It says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So, just as that time then, during 70 AD, when the Romans came in and they were slaughtering our people, hey, you might have these things put up, like the brother said, you might not be at your house, but don't go back to it, you know? Like, the Lord could be telling you to go this way and go that way, man. And that's why, even in these present days, I'm sure the Lord be directing you, sir. Like I told my daughter yesterday, I was like, damn, I don't know why I went this way. I'm like, well, the Lord took me this way, so you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna just go with that. It's gonna be situations like that, man. You know? But you, man, just think, bro, you got a bunker, you know you're gonna go back and get, and the Lord gonna set it up to where you can get, you know what I'm saying, get got for the most part. Because you're not listening.
You gotta walk in that light, walk in the spirit, so you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. You know.
So 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. In those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as one that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes." You know, so being ready to give these things up, you know, not establishing something with the idea of it lasting years and years, or, you know, not being ready to quickly walk away from it if need be. You know?
Well, to be able to be quickly, you gotta be as pilgrims. Nothing's here. Your woman, your kids, your job. You should be able to make a decision in the name of the Lord at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't do that, then you're gonna be regulated. How you gonna walk in the spirit and not fulfill the lust of the flesh? Because the lust of the flesh could be like, oh, let me go back to the bunker. I'm hungry. I know food's over there. That's the lust of the flesh. I'm hungry. You know, and then you're gonna know where the food's at. So your mind gonna be stuck on going that way, when the direction of the Lord, it's almost like go this way, and there's no reason. And then you go that way, and there's everything you need. You know, it's called faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You know? But you go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 40. "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle." And it say the battle, or it said thy battle. Like, this is a personal situation, man. And in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He that selleth, let him be as one that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein.
Yep. So it's gonna get repeated over and over. So when you get so stuck with, you know, your podcast. You know, these guys, Zariak is doing these podcasts. He's stuck, man. All right, he making money over there. Okay, that shit feel good. Same thing with Alizé and them. They was coming out saying that they had to do videos that was controversy and, you know, something that started arguments and shit like that. You know, that's why they had to appeal to a certain demographic, because they're selling the truth. All right, so they gotta argue about shit all the time, bring up controversial Bible verses. All right, so now the truth is not being brought out correctly. You know, like it's this truth is very simple. It's very it's lively, but it's dull. You know, as far as what's the new hit? Ain't gonna be no new hit. It's gonna be the same hit, nigga. Like repent and waiting for America to be destroyed so we can be delivered. It's gonna be the same song and dance. Only thing that's new is things that's happening, the prophecies that's manifesting and coming to pass, that's stepping, you know, closer towards the direction. Update on the MOTV. Them niggas get bored of that, man. They're more entertained on, you know, how they gonna get some more women, some more money. They're not occupied in prophecy, man. They're occupied in these times. All right? They're occupied in this world. All right? Let's get that in 1 John. It says the pride of life. First John chapter 2, verse 15, it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Yeah, man. So you can tell when people, you know, they have a love for the world, because when you start asking about prophecy, they talking about living here, man. All right? Same thing with Nate and them talking about being conspiracy nut. What are y'all talking about, man? Like, the conspiracy theorists in general is like fucking up 10 to 2. At this point,
Leading the division.
yeah, they leading the division, man, and being right about these prophecies, man. I mean, not about these prophecies, but about lies and bullshit that's been going on. It's been the CIA documents declassified. All right, shit's happening. And niggas still trying to, you know, they built their foundation on this rhetoric. That we don't get into all that. Like the Lord is gonna zap everything and then it's gonna change. We're gonna be here in America, then the lightning bolt gonna hit, and we're gonna be ruling. And Esau gonna be on. They're gonna be the new niggas. Yeah. That they think. You know,
It's a process, man. That's why I speak about the days of evil and Jacob's trouble and the times of perilous times, because that's a whole situation. You know what I'm saying? That's not a complete turnaround. The Lord never dealt like that. He told Nineveh they gonna be judged. He spared them for another 70 years and still judged them, man. So Babylon, they was gonna go down, and this kingdom gonna rule, and it was a process. You know what I'm saying? What it said, the tekel, I always forget that part. The mini and the tekel, the writing on the wall. It's like, boom, your kingdom is over. Next person up to rule, you know, it was a process. He got proud. He went in there, started drinking out of the Lord. All of that was written to happen, but it's all a process, man. You know, and that's what Jake just want to skip the process.
yeah,
You know?
because Nate and them don't believe in Jacob's trouble. All right. And I'm thinking about it, they really don't talk about prophecy. They don't talk about the end times like that, man. They'll mention it if it's being brought up, and they say the Lord's coming back to deliver us, we're gonna get delivered, but they don't really go into, you know, the process of that. They don't talk about America going down like that. That don't rub them the right way, because they're hirelings, man. Okay.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth.
Yep. The house of fools is in the house of mirth, man, which is that happiness, that joyous. You know, they count that money. All right, all the prominent niggas in Israel is counting money right now. All right, I'm talking about in the flesh. The ones who got the purple and gold marching and shit, they counting money. All right, That's why they had to address it when Jake was talking about they had their net worth and all that. They had to address it, man, because it had some truth to it. You talking about my now? I ain't no millionaire. No, that enterprise is. Okay, IUIC is. It may not be on your neck because you knew that was gonna be a case. You know, assumably.
Then you like, most Jake ain't got a 401k. That's all I ask for to eat. I'm like, no, niggas gonna affect me too. How else you gonna buy? How else you gonna sell anything? You know, that's why they trying to bring all under the same shit where it ain't no, I'm gonna use my credit card. I'm gonna use my debit card. I got cash. Like, no, nigga, all y'all gonna scare y'all fucking head.
Yeah. If you don't got that system, you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell, man. It's gonna be an access point. It's like I said, you go to a fucking go to Six Flags with $40 in your pocket. You go in there with $1,000, $10,000 in your pocket. Ain't gonna be able to buy shit. Ain't gonna be able to buy a damn thing. So tell me how important money is. They could just switch that shit right over. Alright? We're just dealing with democracy. So you can't just say, I'm gonna do it. But China does it. Your ass can't go where you want. Alright, just like I said, they got the camera in the UK to where they'll scan your license plate and they catch you driving in the inner city. Just like they got downtown parking. It used to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Then they moved it to the weekends. They eventually just started charging you. And you only get like Sunday night. Sunday, then a night. You know? So now they gonna move it to where if you're driving around in certain areas or going far, like the scripture said, man should go in the city and should not be able. Your ass gonna try to go to Bellevue, and then as soon as you cross that certain area, motherfucker gonna click, hit your ass over the head with a fucking $200 fine, because or charge you by the minute that you out there. And rich people can go where they want. Their tab gonna be big, so it ain't gonna hurt them. Your ass go over there and it's charging you like a jail call. Your ass getting hit over here 50 cents a minute. You know?
I was thinking like when you on them scooters downtown, you could be riding that motherfucker as fast as you want. But as soon as you go into one of them red areas that no ride zone, that bitch go boom. You gotta push that motherfucker now. It's like
it ain't gonna be no pushing. They're gonna have a fucking toll, a toll truck. You know, they got cars that's not even what's called a waymark or something like that. Where the cars, it's like a driverless car.
Yeah, Waymo's.
You know, you just get that motherfucker and saw videos of Waymo's causing chaos throughout the city streets, going up one ways and shit. But that motherfucker will take your ass, it'll cut clean off on you.
yeah.
You know? And then it ain't gonna be just cars, it's gonna be face recognition. Your ass gonna be walking up the street, they're gonna see your ass, scan you, you know?
Imagine when you become that scooter. You got a fucking chip in you and you try to go into a zone you ain't. You know? That's gonna be part of that system. If you get that damn mark in your hand, you try to go into certain areas or you know what I'm saying, go over here or do it, they can just shut it down.
Yeah, these are the times behind them looking forward to. They call it conspiracy, but we're headed in that time. They're talking about building bunkers so we can last long enough to make a society where these niggas trying to have fucking robots do everything. You know? Ain't gonna be no jobs. Alright, the job AI is taking over the bulk of the jobs right now.
Yep. They just said they doing 20% of certain companies' tasks. They're gonna start with the task, then they're gonna get rid of your ass and then replace your ass with them, man.
John, I got a preset. This Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Guys, basically going into the conspiracies that they say don't exist. The scriptures talks about it. If I go into NLT, it's more clear. It says,
no, you can read more to that. They got more to it.
Verse 4.
That's a classic right there, man.
They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance."
Yeah, that's their whole goal. So that's a conspiracy. That means to conspire means to breathe together. Con means with, aspire like aspire your aspirations. You know what I'm saying? That's your breathing. That means they all come together and they're talking together. All right? Because when the Lord breathed the breath of life into Adam, and with him, it wasn't that. He was telling them things.
Your ideology.
Yeah. You know? Esau and send y'all, give y'all a movie. They wake up.
They all in the room.
It's hot as motherfucker. Why is my cheetah over here? Right. It's winter time. Why is my cheetah?
It's hot as
But yeah, man. There is these people are coming together and conspiring on many levels, far beyond Jake's understanding, man. Okay, from the redlining to we don't even know the things that's going on now with these wars, these rumors of wars. All right, because it ain't just Trump. So there's people behind the scenes that's controlling them. All right, Netanyahu and all them. All right, there's people behind the scenes that's controlling them. There's private companies. All right, investors, donors that got a hold of them in some type of way, man. You know, telling them to like we were watching already or not. Stop the ceasefire. You know, there's people that's pulling them type of strings, and the people that's pulling them is the small hats, man. The elite of the small hats. All right, and we're talking about the ones that with the sideburn. They the ones that lean toward their side, but we're talking about the Rothschilds, you know, and the DuPonts. You know what I'm saying? The Medicis, the Gettys, them big families, man. Okay, that really dictate. Okay, if we go over here and we take this oil, that or this resource, so we could keep selling these things. And they ain't selling no pizza boxes, you know. These motherfuckers are selling the metal, the metal to the back of the Apple computers. They're selling the wire, the copper wiring, the company that make all the copper for the wiring. Like it go deeper than a motherfucker making a shoe or making a shirt, trying to sell some dumbass merch. No, these niggas is getting the cotton. They're they're taking all the resources of the earth, man. All right, that's why the scripture said that blessed was the fatness of the earth. Okay, ultimately the oil, but the fatness of the earth, also the resources of it, man. Because y'all start out with sugar, tobacco, certain dyes. Purple used to be a high. People used to be busting people's head behind sugar cubes, man. Really going over to other countries. We was going over to opium, pineapples. Took down a whole fucking island behind pineapples, man, and bananas. Because it's climate, and you can go over there and you could keep producing this over and over and over there. So you didn't annex them people. They said, fuck it. And y'all, but then get mad at Crimea because they want to be annexed to Russia. Oh, hell no. Because why? You don't want countries to get powerful. You don't want the USSR to come back. But hey, that's prophecy. That's gonna come back anyway. I digress. Presumption.
Yeah. So, Book of Job 5 verse 14. It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night.
Yeah. Well, that's talking about niggas. That's talking about everybody, man. They meet up, come up with these ideas. They struggle in the light. They struggle with this truth, man. All right, because the truth is the light. All right, they can come up. They can tell you how to do that dumbass fucking dance, that rodeo shit. You know, they can sit there and tell you how to do that, but can't tell you how to live like a woman or live like a godly man, or break down prophecies, right? Or tell you what's going on in the world, man. Okay? I was talking to co-workers about that Venezuela shit. Yeah, they don't want to admit America got involved in it. It's like, yeah, man, them motherfuckers got refineries. Yeah, they said that. No, I'm about to Google it right now. Look, they got the refineries. The fuck y'all talking about these gas prices? It's a conspiracy, motherfucker. You know? You just don't want to admit it because y'all like complaining like it's some type of fucking supervisor or something. Yeah, they said do this. That don't make no sense. Like, nah, because the motherfuckers cheating us. They lying to us. No. You know, but you open up a Bible, well, how you know that's true? You know? That's why it says come out of it. Don't stop dealing with this place, man. Okay? That nigga was trying to, man, I see y'all out there. Like, if we was like in a tight situation, we have a pulse on black.
But he saveth the poor from the sword and from their mouth and from the hand of the mighty.
Yeah, and the poor is the elect, man. Because remember, it says, yeah, you're poor, but thou art rich. All right? We're the dead to this world, man. We won't have a voice like that, man. Okay? Because if we did, we wouldn't be out here. We wouldn't have to be out here as frequently. All it takes is Esau to say one fucking thing on the podium and everybody believe it. You know?
This is Psalm chapter 17 and verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. From men which are thy hand, O Lord. From men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of...
So we're... the wicked is the sword, so that's why we're not supposed to be making covenants, with the heathen, and being joined into him. Ultimately, he's going to be destroyed, man. All right? America's going to be destroyed. Like, I see ain't nothing wrong with making a covenant. I ain't going to say, like, there's something wrong with making a covenant. But you got to make a covenant at your job. You got to make a covenant with the heathen. You know what I'm saying? You might have an ability to be self-employed. So you gotta, sign certain contracts and stipulations. But the point is, what I'm saying is that you're looking to make that covenant. You're trying to join with them so you can come up, so that way now your integrity is compromised, So you're trying to make these, like I said, podcasts, or you're trying to set your church up a certain way. No, I'm not affiliated with those guys. Those guys are radical. They're conspiracy nuts. Yeah, they're even rapists. You don't say anything, man. Disassociate yourself so you can continue to get the benefits of Babylon, man. But we're not held by those same bounds and those same rules and regulations, because we're free. We're made free through the truth. You shall know the truth, and it shall set you free. This truth has set us free, man. All right? But they're bound by the world. They can't say certain things. That's why when we get to talking about the MOTB, they cringe up. And when we start talking about the chariots of the Most High, the Lord destroying this place, that can't come out them niggas' mouths, man. All right? Because they got contracts. They act like the CIA don't work. Them niggas could be CIA ops.
It says, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. they are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes.
Yeah, it says that they're full of the pleasures of this life, man. They're good. They got everything they need over here, man. You know? So now their mind is not occupied in prophecies. They've been fattened up like motherfuckers trying to eat you, they feed you up. You know?
So 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 31, it says, and they that use this world is not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away.
Yeah. And so they definitely abuse this world. You know what I'm saying? They you know, because there ain't nothing wrong. You fall into situations, you might come up on some bread, you know, but they got caught up into it, man. Especially that podcast and heaping congregations unto themselves, you know. They found them a lane to get them money, so now that their integrity is compromised in that area. That's why they talk about women so much, because they're leading silly women away, because that's the main ones who are gonna be paying all that money, just like they do in the churches. They just moving from the Christian church to IUIC, you know. Then Johanna got these half a jailbirds popping out, you know.
This is Luke chapter 6 and verse 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Woe unto you that are rich.
So that, like Queen's Flip even told to say, yo, man, you barely be out. I be outside every once in a, like every 2 weeks. I was out there 2 weeks ago. It's like, no, you're supposed to be out there every week, man. You know?
Nigga, that's not it. No, you ain't out. You ain't out.
You with us all the time. I'm trying to see you everywhere I'm at. And I be partying. You know what I'm saying? He unequally yoked unbelievers. And just because he's presenting himself as a man of the Lord, don't mean he's operating in that light. All right? He ain't YAHAWASHI hanging with publicans and sinners. He ain't rebuking them niggas, telling them to repent. He arguing with them to no end. He didn't have 18 arguments. Ain't nothing happened yet. Ain't nothing happened but besides him getting more popular. You know? This nigga's in the arms race with IUIC. You know? How the British and the Portugal is going at it, that's how IUIC and ISUPK, they fight for the #1 spot. You know?
I got a preset. It's 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
Yeah, and we're supposed to bid to marriage, bid the highways and byways. All right? And we're supposed to do it right, because controversy sell. They could get on there and say, well, look at my views. Well, you look at your audience, nigga. You got a million niggas, but two people probably are interested. They just want to see the black nigga yell at white people. Nigga don't care. He gonna go back to his blunt. He gonna go back to doing whatever he doing, and that's gonna be that. You know, ain't nothing gonna change.
It's James chapter 5 verse 3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. It shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days.
Yeah, so they pretty much is trying to, you know, well, they ain't heaping treasures to the last days. They just gathering money. They're getting infatuated with this lifestyle, the Babylonian lifestyle. They're getting infatuated with, you know, making this bread, man. All right.
It's like if I could make the point, because that gold and silver cankering, them dollars gonna be worthless at the end of the day. That money you did all that for no reason. The system gonna crash. You know.
Well, yeah, they're not occupied in prophecies. Okay, they're not occupied, but the prophecy said that these riches are gonna come to naught, man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's proof that their mind is not over there. Okay.
This is Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed, Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh.
Yeah. That's ultimately what it is, man. That they're not gonna be able to get out this jam. Man.
That's like Batman.
Like Batman after he finished saving the day. Yep. So that silver and that gold is gonna be worthless. It's becoming worthless now, man. That is gain the whole world, lose your own soul, man. You know what I'm saying? You sitting here fighting and you finally get to get on these yachts and eat these foods and, you know, live deliciously, and it's like everything is going up and shit. You know? You can't buy you gotta buy your house, take you, it's like $2 million to buy a house. That was like $250,000. You know? Shit, that was when we was trying to get a house. It was like $250 for like a 3-bedroom, something, and it was just trash in a shitty ass neighborhood. You know? Just you get to have a yard. That's it. You get to get in debt just to have a yard. That's how it worked, man. You know? But these people believe, they don't hasten in the day. They don't believe in the second coming of YAHAWASHI. So that's why their mind is like that, and they're lukewarm about it, and they're not even lukewarm, they're going the other way, man. They're fleeing from the face of the Lord. But they just keep putting on the clothing. That's why they gotta boast in the law, man. Because they can't boast in prophecies. You know? Anybody got something else?
I ain't got nothing.
All right, with that being said, we'll give all praises
To Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rachakodash.
Couple honest our apostles who are others who rule well. Let's say teach you brothers of that teaching, sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.